Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Mancunian Way and episode number 3 of Blues Down Under. I'm your host, Patrick, and I am joined by the same old Aussie motley crew of Nick and Alan. How are we, gentlemen?
Good. Yeah, good, lads. Good to be back on with the boys.
No, that's the way. Yeah, I think I've been looking forward to doing this show again, mate, and I think this is going to be a nice little routine that we're going to have going on. I'm definitely enjoying myself so far. And I've got something for everybody to look forward to. Not this week, I'm afraid, but definitely next Wednesday and for the future. Rich will be back on as well. He's just a little bit tied up with life, getting back in the swing of things with life at the moment after spending a few weeks abroad. But he has assured us he will be back as of next Wednesday. So we are looking forward to that. Melburnian lads, I hope you're both doing well. Look, I know both of you haven't been on the show since the weekend, so I'm going to quickly go through Wolves with you. But what we can expect this evening is, I think we'll quickly talk about Wolves. We'll get a little bit in about Southampton as well too, but also too probably just talk a little bit about some of these transfer rumors going on, particularly the one that obviously everybody's talking about at the moment. That is apparently Florian Wirtz has got his eyes for only Bayern. He doesn't know any other club in the world except for Bayern, according to newspaper outlets in Germany. So we're going to dissect a little bit of that and see what is good anyway. Big up everybody in the chat who's joined us. I know Daps is over on South Stand at the moment doing his show, but hopefully we can see a few of you over here once he's all wrapped up there anyway. And Martin will be on in about 15 minutes' time. He's just a little bit tied up at the moment, but just got some things going on in the background anyway. So guys, quickly, I said at the start of this week, Wolves was definitely sort of game where, result didn't match the performance. But when do we ever get really too, critical about performances at this time of the season, regardless whether it's for a league or for a top four? But Nick, I'll get your thoughts quickly on that, and before we head on anywhere, Nick and Alan. But Nick, if you want to go first, we'll get your thoughts on this, mate.
Yeah, mate. Obviously, bit of a scrappy game, and I think we kind of all knew it was going to be. Wolves obviously in some pretty good form at the moment. Look, I don't think anyone particularly played amazing. It was kind of a bit of a just get the job done and get out of there kind of thing from my mindset. And again, another very important win to helping us pretty much secure that kind of Champions League position.
Just quickly, did you see any sort of like stuff on social media about people claiming that they reckon we'd probably score 3 or 4 or even 5 in some cases? I think the problem I had with that was I think people weren't looking at Wolves' form, and I think they were too busy looking at the table. They weren't actually looking at the performances they put in and realised that over the last, say, 6 weeks or so, probably the most informed team in the league.
Really solid. Yeah. No, I did see a lot of that. I think a lot of people kind of got almost have got that kind of picture that Wolves is just go roll them over and they're on holiday mode at the moment. But I think their coach has obviously got them playing some very good football. And I think they're going to want to continue that pretty much right through to the end of the season, just to roll it over into next season as well. Bit of belief.
True. And Alan, it's good to have you back, mate. I know you've been on the side of milk cartons for the last few days, but your thoughts on Wolves, again, like I said, it wasn't too crush or hot performance. You're just happy to get the win. You too, mate. Feelings mutual. But just your thoughts anyway. I mean, at the end of the day, it wasn't pretty, but it was effective and we got the job done, didn't we?
Well, first things first, we got the win, which was the number one thing we had to get. So it was a pretty scrappy game. I thought Wolves, like I spoke to Nick in the beginning of the week, are a good side. Since their new managers come on board, they've won something like 6 or 7 straight games, right? They've got them playing football. They're decent, they're organised, well-disciplined, good side now. And they've got some decent players, which they have. Wolves, would say, were unlucky not to get a point because they hit the woodwork a few times, which was the same as before the week before. But at the end of the day, we got the win. We played okay, and we got the win we needed because now it's very, very tight at the top. There's only a few points in it, if that. Now,
did other results give you a bit of relief, this weekend?
Yeah, yes and no. But if you look at the table right now, there's only 1 or 2 points between us and 7th, right? So we have to win at least 2 of the games, I think, to secure it.
I said this on Dapster's show, Alan. I said first to 70 points gets Champions League. Do you agree with me?
Yeah.
I think 70 does it. Yeah.
Let
me ask you another question. I'm going to ask you this via Nick. After Wolves beat United 1-0 at Old Trafford, did you increase your fear-mongering to 25 messages a day, or did you keep it at the default setting of 20 fear-mongering messages a day?
Probably 20. Kept it around there.
He kept it level. Okay, yeah, fair
enough.
Because I know he gets on it when other teams have won at Old Trafford. He's like, oh, don't, they don't. Yeah.
I will say this though, Patrick. I don't want to be going to Fulham away needing to win.
Do you think we might be in a position, at the way things are going at the moment, do you think we might be in a position where Fulham could be a dead rubber?
I can see that.
It's getting closer. It's getting closer.
They've all got to play.
We've got to win this weekend, and we've got to win the week after the FA Cup finals for Bournemouth. So because we've got a gap, haven't we? Because the FA Cup final, which that's another story. That is. Yeah,
true. Just want to quickly sidetrack as well too. I'm sure you guys saw the game this morning. I mean,
Yes, probably the best tie.
Break out the popcorn because that was absolutely unreal.
Best tie.
I mean, I'm going to wax lyrical quickly about that game too, and I don't know if you guys want to do the same, but that was the sort of game that can actually sort of motivate the next generation of football fans. If you want to get your kid into watching football, get him to watch the 180 or 200 odd minutes of football over those 2 legs in Barcelona and Milan, because that was just. That's if there's going to be a game that showcased modern day football, that's what you do. And I know we can talk about saying like, oh, but City have all these games. That's fine. Totally fine. We've played some fantastic football, but that's the sort of thing that you want to promote the game on a global stage. Because at the end of the day, we're football fans as much as we are fans of our club. And
massively.
you want to see that on a global stage. If you're going to portray football to aliens in outer space, that's probably what you'd want to do. Because to me, that was just a fantastic exhibition of how good football can be, and it made me feel as good as it is watching like nostalgic classic matches from the 90s and 2000s. I don't know if you felt the same, Alan, but I thought the quality was up there.
It was very, very good. I said to my mate a few weeks back when the quarterfinals started, it wouldn't surprise me if Inter won it.
Yeah. Oh, I don't mind who played it. It's just as long as whatever team played in that style with that many goals and that much back and forth, with scoring. That was just a perfect showcase of what the beautiful game can be, in my opinion. And
Just
all I
don't
can
pass
turn around
it,
and say,
I
can
just don't
applaud
pass
Hansi
it.
Flick, I can applaud Inzaghi. Thought they did a fantastic job.
I just hope Arsenal don't get to the final.
Yeah, well, you were first to say it, but yeah, I know. I do kind of feel the same way. Do we think PSG are going through? I think it's a huge mountain to climb in Paris for Arsenal.
Yeah.
Weirdly, I thought actually. You go first, Alan. What were you going to say?
It's only 1-0, mate.
I'm the same. I actually think Arsenal go through, to be honest.
Oh, get stuff. Jesus Christ.
I don't want it to, but I just think they do.
I can't be doing with their fans going on.
Oh, no.
It's bad enough that I'm going to have to wear a Tottenham shirt against Man U in the Europa to stop United from winning and getting into the Champions League.
Well, you just disappeared the last 5 days. It's not difficult.
Oh, mate.
He's down in Tassie.
You can just do it again. Yeah, you'll be right.
Oh, mate. No, mate. It'll be so unjust. They deserve to get relegated, the pair of them.
Well, I'm glad we're not worrying about that relegation battle for us at the moment, mate.
Well, yeah, but United in the Champions League, please do me a fucking favour.
All right, let's quickly see who's in the chat this evening. Let's have a look. Just going to go from top to bottom. Blue Heart, always good to see you, mate. Luke, not in my lifetime podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe to him as well too. Cade, good to see you, mate. Keely in the building. Big up to yourself. Always a pleasure having you on, mate. And you're always welcome back whenever you need to. So that's fine, mate. Dash in the building. Thank you. Big up to yourself, mate. Always good to see you. Yeah. So big thanks to everybody who obviously gets involved with this channel. And yeah, if you can try and drag a few over from Daps's when you're done, it's much appreciated as well too. I don't know what else we can add really from Wolves. I mean, like you said, I think the performance was sort of, but we're just happy to get the results over the line. And yeah, the favourable results, I think, sort of made the weekend feel a little bit better as well. I'm going to say it. I'm actually feeling really confident we can end up in second in this league. Might be a little bit of a brave call to make right now, but if ever there's a team that knows how to put pressure on or continue just getting a good run of games going at the end, and it doesn't matter what we're playing for, it's Manchester City.
Yep.
Yeah. Don't know if you guys feel the same. Do you think we can get second?
Well, how many goals are behind it? Are we? There's quite a few in there. I think it'll go to goal.
Yeah, it's about, last I checked, it was about 9 goals. Now, to be honest,
it's going to have to be a big swing.
Yep. Well, there's every chance it could happen to Southampton, but I'm going to quickly segue to Southampton, by the way, too, as well. Just, I know we'll have a bit more of an in-depth analysis about that on Thursday night chat for that one. So we look forward to seeing everybody on that one as well, too. But I'm going to go back to something I'd said before about the only thing that concerns me a little bit, and this is probably just having Bertie thoughts, and Alan, you might be the same as well, is, you know, Southampton are on 11 points, which is equal to Derby as the worst points total ever in Premier League history. I know teams don't want to be on the wrong side of history, but it's also something big that you want to play for as well too. And while I still think that we can win comfortably, I know that sometimes when the lower teams have something to play for, it can make things difficult. We've seen that before.
Now they've already been relegated. There's no pressure on them. They can play more freely. Sometimes when that happens, it's more dangerous.
We saw Wolves do that too, to be honest. They seem to just play with, just so much freedom.
And if City take the foot off the pedal, they could be embarrassed.
Possibly, yeah. I don't think we can allow ourselves to take our foot off the gas in any way whatsoever. I mean, we're still going to be having to do high intensity training for a month before the Club World Cup anyway. So the sense of that match day fitness is going to have to continue for the best part of a month from when we wrap up at Fulham before we head to the USA to play Wydad in mid-June. So it's I don't know if anybody feels the same way, but I think it's very, very tricky just the way in which it's going to be handled. And the same can go for Juventus, Chelsea, Real Madrid. I can't remember any other European clubs that are going to be in there, but they're all going to be in the same boat as well too. Yeah. And I still think the biggest threat to the biggest threat to all clubs in the Club World Cup this tournament, I think will probably be the South American clubs, because as we know, they take it very, very seriously. They always do every year. It doesn't matter what team gets in that competition. They always want to beat the Europeans and because it's something that they hold in really high regard for that reason. And number two, they're going to be right in the middle of their calendar year season as well too. So they're going to be absolutely, purring on all cylinders, ready to go and just ready to absolutely just, try and tear European teams apart. So I'm kind of glad in a way that we don't have to play them in the group stages, because I think some of those teams like your Flamengos, your Palmeiras, Boca Juniors, they are really going to put, try and put teams to the sword too. So I think that is going to be very, 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 very tricky sort of competition for us if we're not on our game.
Definitely. And they all kind of play that physical kind of style of football. They don't mind getting stuck in as well, which, fingers crossed, we don't pick up any injuries over there. But it's definitely something that's probably going to happen over the course of that kind of Club World Cup.
Are you taking this seriously, this Club World Cup? Be honest.
Well, I'm taking the second game seriously, Alan, because it's nice to watch City play a competitive match at 11 o'clock in the morning for once.
Yeah, true.
So,
I
think we could take one seriously at least, yeah. But look, I think.
Sorry,
I said to you before. No, you're sorry, mate. Yeah, you're right.
I was going to say, I think, Alan, I think it's going to be more serious for certain players. I think, if I'm being entirely honest, I think obviously our more senior, experienced players can almost treat it as a bit more of a pre-season and a bit of a holiday kind of thing. But I think for the younger players, this is where they're going to kind of make a name for themselves. They're going to be played in different positions. I see it being more about them. But as the club, I don't really see us taking it super serious.
I personally think Pep will treat it as a pre-season. So kids will get it. Yeah, I don't think we'll take it that seriously.
I don't know. I think he might experiment like a pre-season, but he'll still want his players to treat it the same way, like as if it's a bunch of academy players in a cup tie, in early January.
I'll be honest with you.
There is something there, not just the prize money too, but if it was such a problem, if clubs looked at it, European clubs looked at it the same way that maybe some of us are a bit skeptical about this competition look at, then we would have never gone to Saudi Arabia. Other clubs wouldn't have done previous. They would have looked at it as like just some FIFA World Club invitational sort of thing, in a way, not actually like an actual trophy. And the same thing too is like, I think we looked at it because from previous years, whenever we've seen Chelsea there, we've seen Liverpool there, we saw United there, or things like that, we'd always laugh about saying like, just tin pot trophy. You're only going there to face two teams from two weaker conferences, and you've won another trophy. Like, it's not much. But then once we're in that position and we finally are in that final, be honest, put your hand up and say, when we played that final against Fluminense, we took it seriously. We really wanted to win it because it was because the way I think we look at it was we look at it and go, Champions League was the be all and end all. Why not add a little bit something else to it if it's available? The UEFA SUPERCUP did that. The FIFA
I watched the final last time in Saudi, and whilst I was pleased we won because we never won that trophy before. If you're talking about this one in being a top actual tournament, loads of games in America, there's two things I don't like. One is it's too many teams, and it's in the pre-season time. I'm not going to watch it. I'll be honest with you. I'll refuse to watch it. And two, it's FIFA they're trying to make it bigger than the Champions League. I don't give a shit. It's a pre-season. That's it. End of. I want our league title back off them Scouts bastards. Simple, right? I don't want our players injured or unfit, right? Because they're all injured for the start of the season. We get behind Liverpool. I'm sorry, but I want our title back.
Just quickly to all our FIFA delegates in the chat, just our sincerest apologies. The Mancunian way does not reflect the same opinions of Sir Alan Mancini Howarth. These opinions are his and his only. So we'll move on fast from that anyway. But let's quickly get on to the Florian Wirtz talk as well. Now, for those who didn't see it, Bild, who from most of you would know is obviously one of Germany's top footballing outlets in a way, but also too, if you do look into a lot of what they say, do have a lot of positive things to say about a certain Bavarian team that wears red, predominantly red and white. They've been all over the news lately saying that, according to reports, Florian Wirtz has only had eyes for Bayern, has no interest in joining Real Madrid or joining Manchester City. It's believed that he's already contacted Xabi Alonso to express that he wants to move on. Again, there's no word have come from Bayer Leverkusen. It's all just seems to be a bit of smoke and mirrors, just used to sort of prop up Bayern in a way, at least what I see. But look, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but do you guys see any sort of correlation between the sort of stories? And I think Build had a little bit to do with this as well too, but the sort of way the stories were handled when we were in for Erling Haaland back in 2022.
Yeah.
I will say one thing. I'll be very, very surprised if Wirtz comes to City.
Really?
Yeah.
What makes you say that?
I think there's clubs in for him that are big in it, namely Madrid. Right?
Wow.
I think Bayern tend to get the people they want when they want them, right? Which they do in Germany. He is German. I'll be very surprised if we get Wirtz. Extremely surprised. I hope it happens, Pat. I hope it happens. I hope we do get him, but I'll be very surprised.
Mm-hmm.
I'm almost the opposite to Alan. I think I'm more confident that he signs with us than any of the other two.
What's got your confidence? What's got your confidence up?
Yeah, massively. So I think in terms of Madrid, I look at the players they do have at the moment, and definitely the up and coming kind of players that they've got in his position. And I don't really see that being an option for them. I know they've kind of mentioned as well previously that Madrid are not in trouble financially, but don't really have a lot of money to spend on players. I look at Trent, for example. They waited to get him on a free, which doesn't scream out we have a lot of cash. I know they do need to kind of look at a few other positions as well.
Don't forget signing on bonus for him too.
Yeah, centre backs definitely. So I think a large chunk of their transfer budget will go to that. And then Bayern, I think Leverkusen don't want to sell to Bayern. I think they've made that very clear. I also look at, we obviously have something that Leverkusen want, namely Ortega and McAtee. I'm more confident.
Down to the player, Nick. It's down to the player.
No, of course it is, Ellen. Of course it is. Yeah, but again, apparently he's had positive talks with Pep, and again, it's all we don't know if any of that's true or not. But yeah, more confident than not.
Don't get me wrong. I'd like him. I would want him to come to City, but I can't see it.
Alan, you couldn't see us making Champions League this year either.
Well, that might not happen still.
We had a point in October, November, but you know.
Yeah,
I was right.
Where do you sit on it all?
Martin, don't talk shit when Rodri went down and I went, we're going to struggle because we don't have a CDM. And I was right.
Yeah. Well, you didn't have to be a rocket scientist to know that though. But
whereabouts are you sitting on it all, Pat?
I think in the same way. I think it's approached in the same way, similar to what we did with Haaland and Richard Keys. I don't know if that's the real beIN Sports Richard Keys, but he said Bayern didn't get Haaland, did they? Absolutely right. But also too, we found out after he signed with us that actually Bayern were the second team that were pursuing him the most. So, take that what you will. But hey, we're happy to have him. Of course we are. But I think the manner in which it's been sort of talked about does have sort of parallels with what happened with Haaland, because you've got to be honest, for every news outlet that came out about Haaland coming to City, I reckon there was at least 3 or 4 or 5 that were directed towards Real Madrid and Bayern Munich, and maybe a couple of other clubs as well too, Barcelona.
Yeah,
who financially were not in a place to even think about, trying to entertain, get him through the door. So it's one of those things where I don't think we want to jump the gun. I think a lot of teams are looking for column inches, in newspapers and things like that. And let's be honest, what what is a newspaper outlet that is favourable towards Bayern Munich going to start publishing once they've already spent the last 5 days publishing the fact that they've pretty much won the league now, or they mathematically have won the league now too?
No,
they're going to have to talk about things. They're not in the cup final, so they can't talk about that. They're going to want to have to bring up stories as well, and it's no different to say when you look at Marca in Spain, Real Madrid, the paper that favors Real Madrid, they put stories out all the time. Look for a slow news week, and they'll create stories out. They'll create stories out there from nothing. So
it's not a Daily Mirror with Liverpool. They just write pro Liverpool. That's all they are.
No, but each to their own. Everybody has their own. But
sorry, jumping on the obviously the latest news that he has chosen Bayern. I think in that piece, in that piece, sorry, Pat, I know it was mentioned that he informed Xabi Alonso, yet he didn't inform the club. Like, it doesn't make sense. I think he would definitely be speaking to the club first before he spoke to Alonso about that decision.
Do you think Bill? I think Bill are playing tactics here, where they're just trying to create a story out there to sort of influence the masses, realizing that it's like, oh, hang on a sec. If we try and do this by sidetracking, by not even acknowledging that the selling club is out there, that's a sort of way of deviating without being like people going out there basically saying, well, what if Bayer Leverkusen got to say about this?
Yeah, no, exactly. What was that laugh for, Martin? We're all keen to find out.
Good day, everyone. It's your honorary Ozzy.
Oh, please don't ever say that again.
Oh, God, honestly. Jesus Christ.
Well, if everyone else is doing it. Sorry. Anyway. Good morning, gentlemen. I did say I wasn't coming on. I promise you, when Rich is back, I am not on. I promise you, I am not meant to be on these shows.
Why are you on it?
Because Rich in there.
Oh, God.
Go on, Martin. What news have you got for us, mate?
Yeah, no. That's it. I said yesterday, I think City, if Bayern had been told that, no one's told Manchester City that. Yep. So Manchester City have got a very, very different outlook at the moment.
Yep. I think I saw it in the comments as well. Someone's put in the Sam Lee, obviously mentioned that he's actually quite confident that City get him as well. So
I hope you're right. We need it.
No, and I think it's one of them from. It's one of them. I think someone put it correct. I'm sure it was. If Wirtz signs, it'll be virtually straight away after. As soon as that window opens, you'll know.
Yep.
I think we'll know. But from
are you getting sort of Martin? Are you getting sort of, as I said before, are you getting sort of Haaland vibes from 3 years ago?
Yeah. Yeah.
Where the pro Bayern media are trying to really force he's definitely coming. He's coming to Bavaria and all that sort of stuff. And because to be honest, the Haaland stories were way more leaning towards Bayern. And then I think, well, to be honest, there was probably some truth to that because we did, as I said, we found out later Bayern were basically the second team that would pursue, second after City that were pursuing the most.
Are we allowed to find out about the 115 as well straight after the season?
Cross that bridge when we come to it.
Probably August, September, maybe.
Really?
There's a lot of politics going on in that at the moment. A lot of politics.
Okay.
It's not just. I mean, people forget this. I know we don't want to talk this, but whoever wins and whoever loses, it's going to have a massive effect on either side.
For sure.
So it is what it is, really. I'm really looking forward to the end of the season. Looking forward to the next few weeks. Southampton, Wembley, Bournemouth, Fulham. It's really going to be good.
Are you going to Wembley?
I'm going to every single game for the rest of the season. Really?
Nice.
Hey, good on you for getting a ticket to Fulham.
There's a massive meetups. Cost me a few bob that, by the way. There's a massive meetup for Southampton. Loads of people are going down, which will be good. The weather's out in Manchester. We're getting lovely 20-degree weather. Yesterday was about 23.
Hope you're staying in the shade.
Hey, well, don't forget, Now, don't forget, that's Fahrenheit, not Celsius. So that's
No, it's
what, about
Celsius.
80, whatever it is.
Yeah, 80. Yeah, 80. No, 20 Fahrenheit. 20 Celsius is about mid to. It's like
It's
low
about-
70s.
Yeah. But yesterday was about 23, 24, 25 in some areas.
Oh, I don't know how you cope, man.
Do you know what? I think it's when you're not used to the heat. I think it feels a bit warmer.
It's not just that; it's a different heat in England compared to over here.
Yeah,
And
so totally.
More humid.
What? Because it exists?
No, it's more humid in England. There.
Yeah.
No, but I love this time of year because you go to the games just wearing your shirt. It's like night games. Night games.
I'll put your
feel
pants
a
on,
bit
you freak.
different.
Did you leave him back in the taxi?
Jacket, pants back.
Yeah. Kathy says, "Yeah, Pat, it's pretty shite." No, I know. It sounds like it sounds like the worst British oxymoron you've ever heard in your life.
What's the update from City Extra? Because I can't go on Twitter.
Yeah. As I said, I don't have X, so
I'll have a look down.
Jarvis, can you share that? My apologies.
yeah, big up Jarvis. Thanks for letting us know, mate. Much appreciated. It's yeah.
So
just,
can I
no.
ask another question just to change subject a little bit? Something I'm intrigued with.
No, that's fine. We're just round table today. We're just having some good old chats about everything that.
Yeah. It's a
Everything
relaxed one today.
Yeah,
It's relaxed. Question, genuine one. Melbourne City, how are they doing this year?
well,
I'm actually just-
Nick's probably best to speak to about this.
I don't jump into an A-League game for so long.
Came second in the league, and they're now in the preliminary finals bullshit that they do every year over here because they do finals, which is bullshit. But there we go.
Do you ever go to any of the games? Because I know you do sometimes, don't you, Alan?
Yeah, now and again.
No, I don't think I've been for 6 years.
Have we not? Do you support Melbourne City or do you support that other mob?
Yeah, Melbourne City. If I had to pick a team, but it's the quality's not the best, and there's no atmosphere.
That's the thing, though. It's like A-League. To those who are tuning in from other countries, it's like the A-League for us. And if you do follow a little bit of football, you do follow the A-League. I think it's just because it's our league, and people will turn around and basically say like, yes, it's a shit league, but it's our shit league.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's what we sort of roll with the Joker, where it's like, who was the best shit team this season? Like,
there's a reason for that. They're on salary caps. They don't pay them enough. So if you're any good or talented, you go and play in Asia, or if you're even exceptional, you go and play in Europe, where they can pay you.
The problem is, Alan, to be honest, if you go to Europe, a lot of problem with the Aussie footballers is they get too heavily caught up in the politics of whether it's the league or that not necessarily the country, but that league and that club. And it's a lot of the time they'll sort of force, especially if Aussie players go to those clubs, particularly if they are of a similar ethnicity or the same ethnicity. What they'll basically do is they've done this before with a lot of players, where they'll sort of ambush them and say, "You want to have a career in Europe?" They go, "Yes," and they go, "Well, rescind you're a dual citizen. Rescind your wanting to play for Australia, and become like a full blown citizen of X country, and then you can try and try and make the national team for our country and that sort of thing." But then they never make it.
Yeah, that's true.
It's a very, very
update, Alan.
Hey,
did you get the City Extra update on your phone?
no.
Yes, I've got it.
Oh, read it out, man.
Florian, Bayern Leverkusen expect Florian Wirtz to leave for a lot less than 150 million. They now have the belief he won't extend his contract. But as of now, there's nothing agreed with Bayern Munich.
Yeah.
Or anyone. So there you go. I was going to... Keela, my apologies. Keela's in the chat. Nick, you say 6 years. That's kind of roughly when the takeover was there. Was you one of these Melbourne Big Tree people?
Not really. A-League over here is just not as big as kind of the other sports going around. I don't know if it's the same in Sydney for you, Pat, but
Yeah,
footy.
I don't know. I'm quite bitter about it in a way because I do believe that the footy code loving media do everything to try and bring down football in Australia, because it is regarded as a minority sport, which I think is really disappointing. I mean, when you look at sort of where A-League was about 10 years ago, when you had the Wanderers in their second season of existence, basically winning the Asia Champions League, breaking a world record in football as the most travelled club in history to win a continental competition. That's never talked about. And the problem is that's never talked about is because, 2 years later, you had Leicester win the Premier League, which is probably it's as bigger underdog, but people just don't understand the logistics of what you have to do to go in to that competition and win. And when you think of the fact that they had to play clubs from China and Saudi Arabia that are absolutely bankrolled at the time, were bankrolled like no tomorrow, compared to what the A-League was, because the A-League was basically doing everything on a shoestring budget. It is still a remarkable achievement for a club to be able to do that. It quite literally was a David versus Goliath situation, and to do it in his second season is absolutely unreal. And I'm not just glazing up the Wanderers because I am technically a fan. Like, I go to some of their games and things like that, but it was truly spectacular. And you still get, to this day, you still get rival fans from Sydney FC come up to us and say, like, you didn't win a league, but what you did, that is something that you can hold on to basically for the club's history. Basically, it is something truly remarkable that what they did. And I think off the back of that, and the fact that the Socceroos were qualifying for World Cups again, as of from 2006 onwards, there was this massive up and up and up. And, majority of A-League games, you were getting at least Wanderers games, you were getting sellout 17,000, 18,000 every single week. Sydney FC were getting plenty of people that's on seats. Melbourne Victory were all getting, have one of the biggest fan bases of the A-League. They were getting big numbers. Then all of a sudden, people from the media, particularly like the Murdoch media, which obviously, at the time he owned Fox, and that Fox was all pumping millions of dollars into, broadcasting rights for all the rugby league, for the AFL, for the cricket and everything like that. They didn't want to be seen as having football basically being like the number one sort of spectator sport, both live and on TV. So I, in my personal opinion, I'm going a little bit down a rabbit hole at the moment, but I think it all changed basically once they decided to put David Gallop, who used to be the CEO of the NRL, the National Rugby League, into the chair of the FFA. Once he came in, within 6 months, they had massive salary caps. They basically had huge restrictions on marquee signings, because that was a big thing. What the A-League kept going was marquee signings. You had Del Piero at Sydney FC, and only just recently now we started getting a few more names come in. We've had like Juan Mata is now playing at the Wanderers as well too. Douglas Costa at Sydney FC. Yeah, exactly. So we are kind of getting names in, but it's been so long that now it's going to take forever, and we've got to continue allowing these marquee matchups. Otherwise, you're still not going to get anybody at games. And it's a real shame, because once they got those salary caps in, the quality dropped. No marquee signings, which was probably responsible for half your crowds there anyway. They all go. Yeah. And it just means that football just takes a back seat for the next 10, 20 years while all the other footy coaches just continue on. They're always propped up. And it's such a disappointing thing to do, because we're not only are we a great sporting nation, but we're willing to give everything a go.
Yeah.
And it really, really disappoints me, because I know there's an opportunity there for the pedigree of Australian football to be really, really good.
David Villa, did he come? I'm pretty sure he did.
Yeah.
Well, he was meant to come for 10 matches, and then he didn't like being in Australia, so he only stayed for 3. And then he went to New York. He went early to New York.
Can I just ask a question? And it's just something that's popped in my head. And maybe I should do this off air, but it'd be really good if we can get Steve and Tanya on.
Wait, which Steve?
Steve Barnflow.
Oh, yeah. Steve would be good to have on. Yeah, and of course, I'd love to have Tanya.
I've had Steve on before. Good lad, Steve. Alan, there's a task for you. Get Steve and Spencer on.
Spencer?
Well, I can get Spencer on.
Yeah.
My
mate Spencer.
You can get Spencer on. We'll get Spencer on again. Don't worry about that.
By the way, there is a little bit of news. Morgan Gibbs-White, City are pushing ahead with that. That's come out of City, actually, which kind of everyone knew anyway. I don't think it's so much pushing ahead. I think that's going to get done. What was the other one? Yeah. But I mean,
there seems to be a massive agenda against Morgan Gibbs-White, and I don't know why, because he's got the figures.
Oh, we have a guest who wants to join. Can we add him?
Who is it?
becoming a bit of a regular on here at the moment, Pat.
All right, go on.
Good afternoon, Elliot. Good morning.
Elliot! Oh my
Elliot.
word!
How are you, lads?
Here he is.
Yeah.
Well, Pat,
I don't
nice
think
to speak.
I don't think I've been on when you've been
Pat.
on, Elliot. Yeah, this is the
No,
first
I
time.
don't. Yeah, I think this is the first time I've ever spoken to you, Pat. How are you, mate?
I can't complain. No one listens, mate. I hope you're well.
Yeah, good stuff, good stuff. I just wanted to pop on just to ask Alan about what his thoughts are on this new Nunes new contract situation.
Oh no!
Do you know what? I'm gonna deflect and actually say because Alan's gonna have a field day here. Do you want Martin? Do you want to explain yourself why you said on the South Stand that you thought Nunes was a shout for Player of the Season?
I knew this was coming back to Matt. Right, hang on.
You've got to be
That's a
fucking
Do you know? I got to
kidding.
laugh. I got to laugh though because I think about 3/4 of the chat were just saying, "Where's Alan? Get him on!"
Right, I'll tell you where it come from. And by the way, I was being genuine. I was not lying. And let me explain my reasoning before Alan starts flipping out.
Fuck's sake!
You're
Are you
right.
serious?
Alan,
He's point of no return.
no, we were discussing Player of the Year, and Steve said your top player or your top 2 or 3, and that's where we were going to go with. Then it went into young player and top player. Now, if O'Reilly's the young player, which I agree with, it's such a small sample size. O'Reilly's only played 5-6 games, and we're giving him young player of the year, which is right, because really nobody else has stood up. For player of the year, it's a bit hard to say who's not made an error, who's not been sort of brilliant. The only one we had was Josko Gabardio. For me, player of the year. But then I sat there and I thought, when we look at games where he's done assists, he's scored goals, and then he's actually gone to right back and been very good at right back, I think Nunes actually has been one of the better players this year.
Well, let's talk about the diving in against United.
Right, I know, but Alan, I agree. But Josko Gabardio made an error against United.
And Liverpool.
But again, Gavardio has made errors, but he's still my player of the year.
I think everyone's made errors, Martin.
Everyone's made errors. That's the point I'm making.
Don't talk about it. Seriously.
We need to create a most improved player
No.
for you, Martin.
But Alan, you've got to look at what he has brought to the team.
What has he brought to the team?
Driving skills.
For me, I mean, I'm going to say this in all seriousness just right now. I think he's been one of the most improved all-round players we've had this season. I also think he's doing a very good job. The best way I could describe it is he's playing a midfield role at right back and doing it quite well. Not saying, don't get me wrong, if Foden and Haaland and all them had been on form this season, of course they're all above it. But I've got to give an honorary shout out to Kovacic and Nunes this season. And I know that isn't liked by some, but I've got to look at it in the cold light of day.
Would you not say Gundogan's been improved?
Definitely. You and I agree on that, Elliot.
He's improved. He's improved under sort of difficult circumstances because he was never, he's been played in a way that was never intended from day one.
Yeah.
So I think he's sort of held his own, if that's the right way to put it.
Can you guys see a world in which Nunes leads at the end of this year?
I can.
That's not directed at you, Alan.
I can. If I was
That's not
Chelsea-
directed at you.
Anyone else but Ellen, because I know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you think Nunes deserves to leave, with the form what he's been in recently? Do you think that may be a bit harsh?
I think it'd be harsh to let him go now, yeah. But
I'm just thinking, yeah.
Why are you smiling when you're saying that? Because you know you're trying to wind me up.
No. And Alan, in all seriousness,
he's actually.
Do you not think he's? I'm not asked Alan. I'm not asked Alan. Yeah, sorry, Martin. I'm not asked Alan, to be fair, what his actual thoughts have been on Nunes recently, to be fair. So, like I said, I don't know what his actual thoughts have been.
Given the solo stage here.
Don't get me wrong. He has improved slightly.
Yeah.
But if you're asking me, should we buy a right fullback? Yes, massively.
Yeah. I'd agree with that, Alan. I would agree with that. I think.
Let me ask Alan this: do you think he's been one of our best players over the last, say, month to 6 weeks?
No.
Well, then who would be?
Hey?
Because
No.
who would be? Because nobody's been playing apart from the rest of the back four. Nobody else has been playing as consistently as he has.
Let me answer the question.
I'm adding on to it.
Kovacic's one, definitely. Guardiola, when he played centre half, has been massive. So's Diaz.
Yeah.
As a pair.
But that's what I was adding to that, because that back four's been
Nunes
fixed.
has been in that. Yeah.
And he's been playing midfield duties. And he's been
Nunes is
involved in the
back
midfield
four.
more than most of the first team has, because they've all been rotated while the defence hasn't.
Can I just throw one in there for you, lads, and just see like what you think? Obviously, anyone jump into this, yeah. What's like? Do you know with the situation with obviously the current formation? I know me and Nick's obviously had like private conversations about this with the sort of new sort of system. If you don't sign like a Frimpong or something, who would? I'm all thinking about the fact of getting up and down the pitch like Nunes and O'Reilly have recently. Who else is there really who you could maybe get for that?
Elliot, I'm of the thought that the reason they're going to get Cambiasso in is, one, because of his versatility, because he can play left and right, he can play wing, and he can also play defense as well. But the thing I think he's going to be in there is basically he is going to be there to create competition for Nunes and for O'Reilly, because they're proving that they can do the wing back / inverted role. He's a professional at that. He's been doing that for several years at Juventus. It's his position, and then it's up to whoever's the best out of Nunes or O'Reilly to be the second after him. I think what they're doing is 2 positions, 3 players. It's basically healthy competition to see who's going to be the best form player to play around him or play on the opposite side wherever Cambiasso is going to play. Anybody else we get in there that could possibly play a wing back, that's probably going to be unforeseen. That might be if we find a good deal on another player that can do that or is versatile enough to play that. But I personally think Cambiasso is going to be in there to be the number one man for the versatile wing back, left wing defense, whatever you want to call it, role. And that inverts, and I think O'Reilly and Rico Lewis to an extent as well too. They're all going to be competing against each other for those 2 roles.
Do you not think we need a second fullback to come in, Pat, or are you content with bringing in one and letting the others fight it out?
Not necessarily, because I think with Pep's sort of fullback / wing backs, I think it's more a case of he wants them to invert more than anything, more as much as he wants them to be sort of overlap with their attack, basically. So I think
Newcastle top on.
Anyway, sorry. As I was saying.
Yeah, I agree with that, Pat, by the way. I agree with that, Pat, because like I said, I think you make a good point with the Cambiasso thing, because it can sort of do both. Mm-hmm. I'm just more thinking of I don't know. I think Nunes has really sort of suited this system. And obviously, like I said, I know we have a joke and that about it and stuff, but I don't think. And like, listen, like Martin knows my thoughts. I really like Rico Lewis, but I don't think Rico Lewis could do this sort of role in this system. If you get what I mean, I think he's sort of I think
age is on his side for development.
Yeah. So it's like I said, I think Nico O'Reilly sort of has the sort of physical outlook on his whole body. Like I say, I think when you look at him, I think you know he can sort of do that role. Do you know what I mean? It's one of them. I just think
the
when
more
Rico
he does this, will just make him a better defender once he settles in that role permanently.
Yeah.
It's an art. The trouble is, and we said this a few weeks back, to say player of the year, I think it was always going to be Josko Gabardio, because the guy's been the most consistent player we've had, even at left back. The only reason I say about Nunes is, and I know stats are not everything, he's one of our top assisters. You won't like this, Alan, but he's got more assists than Savio, Doku, Grealish, and all them.
Martin, I have 100% faith in you and 100% respect for you until this last 10 minutes. And he just blown it out the fucking window.
Sorry, Martin, just jumping in. I was going to say the thing with Nunes as well that obviously Rico kind of can't do at the moment is he has that kind of crossing ability, which is something we haven't really seen from Rico. Rico likes to kind of keep it on the deck.
Yes, great point. Yeah,
and I think obviously a fullback that comes in I think needs to be able to do that as well. Cambiaso's got a great cross on him. If we were to bring in a right back as well or a left back, it has to be the exact same. We have to get balls in the box.
Yeah.
Well, like Kelly said, would you want Kovacic to stay? And this is the hard thing because some of the players in recent weeks, we can't ignore the 8-game unbeaten run. They are playing well.
Can I throw one to you guys? I was going to throw one to everyone here. Can you guys throw me almost a player that is not necessarily going to be sold, but someone that you think out of the blue could be kind of let go by City and shaken up the squad a little bit? Because I think they're going to be a bit more brutal than people think.
I think Stones is going.
No, I'm gonna throw a name out, and this is gonna, and I'm gonna get murdered for
see
it.
what we say at the one after 3. 1, 2, 3. Grealish.
No.
I was gonna say Grealish.
No, Jeremy Doku.
Yeah, I'm similar.
Possible.
Yeah, there's no end product.
No, it's not that, Alan. It's not that. Can I just say what foot? Just because I know everyone's going to come at me now, and I'm going to get a horde of people coming at me. Doku hater. I think Doku is worth another season. My issue with Doku is, and if Savio wasn't in his first season, I would say the same. It will all depend on the system that we play. But right now, if Pep goes with the system next season that we're doing now, it doesn't suit direct, quick wingers.
Correct.
Yeah, but you've seen Savio do it, though, ain't you, lads? That's the thing. Like, I think, like, I don't know if obviously, well, we can all remember it because obviously for the wrong reasons. The Rodri ACL game, that goal for Haaland, that'll come from Savinho coming inside. That's, me and Nick spoke about this before. If you watch Savinho at Girona a lot, he played on the left a lot, but he sort of did drift inside, sort of a bit like I'd say, not obviously it's good, but maybe like the Sané Sterling sort of kind of thing. I think Savinho's technically got probably a little bit more. Which, listen, that's not a... I think Doku one-on-one with a defender is very, very good. I think possibly, like, I know, obviously, we know him.
He's one of the best. Statistically, he's one of the best.
Yeah, I don't think you can take that away from him. I just struggle to see as to where he fits in with that system. Like I said, hopefully he can do it, because I do think with the age of him and him as sort of a player, I do think that there is something in there, but I'm not sure. I think he's one of them players where he's Pep going to get a bit frustrated, and I don't know. That's the other side to it, and maybe same with Savinho. Do you know what I mean? That's the other side to it. We're all looking at the system situation. I think Oscar Bob clears it. To be honest, if you're going to put a winger in there, I think Oscar Bob absolutely clears them both. Because, like I said, he's done it before for the EDS and the academy. But other than that, really, I think, like I say, I think you probably go set Savinho, then Doku is if you were doing it in like a free kind of thing.
I will agree with you. One thing there, Elliot, is that Oscar Bob is better than both of them.
Yeah, I'd agree with that, Alan. I would agree with that.
No, I mean, can I change it? Can I just, sorry to be a total pain on that.
But before you change him up, I want to get Elliot's opinion on if he thinks anyone's going to leave that's kind of out of the blue, or someone that we don't expect to leave.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
What would I say? I don't know if it's a wild tip. I think both keepers will go. I have thought that for a bit. I have thought both keepers possibly might. Well, I'm more swinging to the fact that they both probably are going to go, to be fair. What I'm going to throw one in, and I don't know which one, Aki or Stones. I do think one of them leave.
Yeah.
I do think one of them leave. I don't know which one. I don't know. Does Stones fit the system better? If it's going to be more compact in the middle, in moving inside, maybe not. Like I said, with Pat's point on Cambiaso a few moments ago as well, with Cambiaso coming inside. I don't think that would sort of suit Stones, because I think there'd be too much sort of like compact in the middle sort of thing. I think Aki's when Aki's fully fit, I do think he's possibly, maybe if not, his best defender. When you look at the players he's sort of locked down. Yeah, exactly, Pat. When you look at the players he's locked down as well, Pat, like
never less than a 7 out of 10 every week.
Yeah. I think he has been one of his best actual, and I said this to Andy at MCSC podcast before. I think actually been one of his best ever signings, to be honest, under Pep. When you look at the treble, When you look at like the treble season,
I agree with you, Elliot. I think Aki he's our best defender, and he can play for left full back when he needs to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pat, what's your shout? Who do you think could be a surprise exit? Alan, I'm coming to you next, mate. So
I said before, and I'm probably going to stick with Jack Grealish. I do think that if somebody's willing to come in with to cover that salary,
is that a surprise though, Pat? Is that a surprise?
To some people more than others.
Yeah, some people think he's gone 100%. Some think he'll stick around. Yeah,
yeah.
I'll let you have that one, Alan.
John Stones.
Interesting. Yeah.
To me, not because he's not our best defender, because he's one of our best defenders, because he's
breaking my heart.
I agree, Martin. It's breaking my heart, but his injury record over the last 2 or 3 seasons has been horrendous, and he never plays, and that hurts me because I love John Stones. I do love him.
He's the Barnsley Beckenbauer.
I agree with you, Martin, 100%.
I'm going to be honest with you. For me, he is, and this is going to sound a crazy statement to some. When fit, and that's the problem. When fit,
he's our best defender.
He is. Well, I'm going to change it, Alan. I think he's the best ball-playing centre back in the league.
I agree.
When fit, the trouble is he's never fit.
The point what you've got, Martin, to add to your point, what you're going to say, which I know what you're going to probably say in a minute, is the thing with the injury thing and like obviously taking a risk on him, and the same thing again. We sort of contradicting what we're saying, because not us in people, but I mean just like within like the actual fan base as a club. Because we're saying about Kev, well, we can't offer him 400 grand a week because he's not reliable enough. Well, is that not the same sort of thing with John Stones? Is that sort of not the same thing with Nathan Ake?
That's right. Yeah,
and that's where it's tough. That's where it's tough.
You got to take sentimentality out.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard. Like I said, these are our. Let's say it is, lads. You know what I mean? These are our best, probably ever players we're probably ever going to see, or maybe you know what I mean. Others in, I know I mean that individual. Obviously, like people say, obviously Colin Bell and
no, you are right. And I'll put it this way, because my dad's legends were Colin Bell and you know, the Tony Buck and all of them, and he talks about that team, that era, like the same way we're looking at this era now.
But it's like
that's the way he looks, and that's just an age thing and an era thing.
I'll be honest with you, Nick. I'm going to say something. It will be unpopular, but I'm going to say Savio and Doku could be possibilities of going.
What'd you say? Sorry, I couldn't hear it.
Savio and Doku.
Both.
Savio.
Not Savio. Savio.
Not after a season.
No chance.
That would be ruthless, Alan.
I don't rate them.
Al, do you not think... I'll throw this question back at you, Al, yeah, but do you not think Savio's been a bit... How do I word this? Being treated a little bit unfairly, because I think his best games will come off the left, and I think we can all maybe probably agree with that. And I'm also thinking as to like why that sort of stopped. I know now, obviously with the new system, I get now with the new system, obviously it's not going to work with him on the wing if they don't play wingers.
Elliot, I agree with you. Savio, you should have played on the left-hand side more. I agree with that, because he's a better player than he is on the right-hand side. But I just think the chances created by the pair of them haven't been good enough. For Haaland. They have not been good enough.
Yeah, I mean, another thing as well, though, I'll to defend them sort of play. I'm obviously, like I said, I'm not their agents, I'm not defending them as such, but to maybe look at the flip side of that, we've not, like we've all just agreed, we've not played well. So it's sort of an odd one to like pick out players who want, because like Bernard, like you look at Gundogan, yeah, and I go back to it. I think the change within Gundogan was sort of like maybe like Nico G coming in, because I think he's sort of like just sat there and let Gundogan do his normal thing. Whereas I think with Gundogan, when he come back, he sort of thought, oh well, I can do this. I can go and chase down the left back, and then the left winger. Where realistically, that's just not how Premier League works. The way that team's sitting on us and the counter attack, you've got that sort of other side to it where I don't think we're being physical enough in a lot of ways this year. To be honest with you, I think we're being a bit too weak, a bit too nice. I think Nico O'Reilly's probably changed that a lot, to be honest.
Do you know who else we think we've missed badly this season, all the way through the season?
Go on, Alan.
Phil Foden.
Yeah.
I still think Oscar Bob's the biggest what if from this season.
Yeah, I agree with you, Pat. Yeah.
So Phil Foden would have cured a lot of problems if he'd have been fit or healthy.
What's not to say if Oscar Bob was fully fit? He could have. I'm not saying he would have had Phil Foden numbers, but he could have had impact on games as much as Phil Foden did last season.
Yeah, spot on, Pat. Spot on.
Because Martin and I saw it. I know we try not to win. Yeah, we try to take preseason with a pinch of salt. But I do think from what I saw Oscar Bob, and I was there for all 3 preseason matches, the way he played in those games, he looked like he was absolutely ready to hit the ground running for those first 8 to 10 matches of the season.
He had that right.
If he hadn't broken his leg at the time that he did, he would have been one of the most informed players possibly in the league, and that would have at least carried us for the first maybe third of the season while the rest of the team was getting up to speed. Because if you look at it, yes, we had a good start to the season, but we were sleepwalking through those results. The only reason why we ended up having so many wins was because there were so many teams around us too that were still trying to get into the groove of the season. Basically, we just played the right teams at the right time, and then once teams started knuckling down, they realized that there was holes everywhere. They just took advantage of us. And I think Oscar Bob would have offered a different sort of outlet in terms of goal scoring opportunities. And I think we would have seen a lot more chances created, a lot more chances converted. And I think a lot of those poor results we had during the stretch of 1-14, I think we may have had a few more draws in there, maybe a couple more wins. But it would basically say I still think we'd be way off the pace with Liverpool, but I think we'd have a season where there'd be a bit more credibility, there'd be a bit more consistency, and there wouldn't be like this massive drop off. I just think he would have come in and he would have been able to play. He would have been able to play the sort of role where your Phil Fodens or your Erling Haalands in a way were playing for the last 4 seasons to get us the 4 in a row. I think he would have taken that. He would have taken that baton and basically ran with it and would have continued because he was ready. He was ready to jump out of the blocks and play for us. And it's such a shame that he wasn't able to do it. And I just hope that, that the drive and the motivation will be there for him next season. And it's one of those things where hopefully, 10 weeks into this next season, we're going to look at it and go, that's what he would have done if he was fully fit last season or this season we would have completed.
It wasn't just the to add to that point as well, which obviously I completely agree with you on. Like, we actually had a doubt that was the player who I was most looking forward to. To add to that point as well, it wasn't just a pre-season game; it was the Community Shield as well against the Rags. When you think about it, if there was anybody you looked at that day and you thought, do you know what, he's he is it. Do you know what I mean? He looked like he was in our team for the past couple of years.
Yeah. I was right behind the goals in Ohio when they played the preseason against Chelsea. Chelsea couldn't touch him. He was everywhere. He absolutely ran rings around the back, around their back line.
But remember, he was the guy who got the assist in the Community Shield, like Elliot said. Yeah. He was the guy who put the ball.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
And it was what I used to call, it was old-fashioned wing play, but with a control about it. I know that sounds very weird. Yeah. But the one thing I'll give Doku...
Calculated risks.
Yeah, I think Doku... And I think he's commented on it as well. He started getting his head up. He's having a look now to where his men are. He's not just driving forward and putting balls across. Now, the thing with Doku for me, I think it's very unfair, because would I give him another season? Of course I would, because I think there's a player there. It's the system issue for me with Doku.
Yep.
But to be fair to Doku I don't think Pep chose him.
Yeah, no, I don't. I'm with you on that, man.
And I think that's the unfair part with him, because
sounds like the scouts have,
No, from what I understand, and Elliot, people can correct me if I'm wrong on this. I'm sure we were looking at Doku. We were going to wait another season, but Tottenham and Chelsea were interested, so we had to move now.
That's a big Therese thing. Big Therese thing as well, Mark. I think it's the same.
Yeah, and I think that's the same with Victor. Yeah, Victor Hayes. I think there's been a lot of discussion. Well, why is Victor Hayes not being used? I think it was a simple case of you move now for Victor Hayes, or you don't get the player.
Yep.
Because he won't be there.
Can I just add another thing too, just quickly? I just wanted to go back to Oscar Bob because I forgot to mention this when I just had my little anecdote there before. But I wanted to say another thing too. I thought a full season of Oscar Bob obviously would have been playing left, playing right. He would have been in competition with Savio and Doku. Do you think if Oscar Bob had been able to play the majority of this season, do you think he may have made Savio and Doku play better because the competition would have been there?
Yes, and I'll say to you, Pat, as
I think
well.
they would have stepped up. I think they would have stepped up their game.
Yes, but it was also meant to be Savio was kind of meant to come in as that understudy anyway. He wasn't meant to play it game like week in, week out. I don't think. I think it was meant to be Doku, Jack, and Bob, and then Savio kind of gets minutes in between those guys.
In the same way, because I do feel like he played a lot more than what a lot of first season signings do.
Correct. And again, obviously, it's better competition. Obviously, Jack was out injured a lot as well. They were pretty much locked in spots.
I want to say, Martin spoke about this the other week, that letting some of these players go will be a problem if they are English because of the head count for English players, UK players.
Martin loves a good English quota talk. Yep.
No, it's not just that. I think if I'm honest here, and I'm gonna talk about this more Thursday. I was telling someone about this the other day. I think the way we've built this, I don't know whether it's the way we've built or the way it's just gone by accident. I think the squad numbers are kind of off kilter anyway, because it isn't just homegrown. We're kind of a bit of a stuck with the foreign contingent as well, because you only allowed 17 foreign players. We're at 16. Once you take KDB out, you're at 15. If you add Wirtz, Cambiasso and 8 Nora, you're then at 18. So Martin, someone still has to go.
Yeah, part of my question, Martin, obviously was around kind of is there someone you don't expect to kind of go? Is around that kind of question. I wouldn't be surprised if
I don't know.
Surprise exit. The surprise exit.
Yep.
Do you know what I think it'll come to, Nick? Who we make offers for? Oh, sorry. Who
approaches us?
Who makes offers? Yeah, who approaches us? Yeah. Because it's all right. Because the thing is with KDB, that sounds harsh. Because he is one of the greatest. Some will say the greatest, and I cop out and say one.
I've heard rumours that he's staying now. So they're going to make an offer for him. Is that right?
Not that I've heard. I mean, because the thing is, they've announced it.
Talking about this podcast.
No, they've announced it. It's very different to Gundogan. Gundogan wasn't announced to leave.
It would look worse if they went back on it now.
Yeah, for me, if you go back now, it looks desperation. What you're telling the world is we haven't got Wirtz. If you do that KDB move now, you're telling the world you've not got Wirtz.
Well, I don't think we'll get him. I want him, but I don't.
No, and we may not, Alan. I'm not saying that, but
simple, innit? With Wirtz, I think. Is it not simple?
Yeah.
Is it not first day or two it opens if you don't get him? I don't think. That's
Florian Wirtz, with Florian Wirtz, from what Steve was saying yesterday and others said, I think City kind of like as soon as that window opens in 3 weeks, the decision's made.
Yep.
I don't think they're planning on hanging around on this one. Because you got to remember.
Do you think they'll want it wrapped up with days to spare before they head to the States?
Yeah, of course. I'll be honest. And I also think they've got to be careful on the Gibbs White stuff is the announcement days. Because if you announce, I don't know whether it's more savvy to announce Gibbs White first and then Wirtz, or Wirtz then Gibbs White, and which one takes the heat off the other one. I don't know which one is a better option in that area.
We announced Haaland before the end of the season, didn't we? We announced Haaland before the end of the 22 season, didn't we? Because we did the website did the deal in principle post, didn't they? And that was before that. I think that was before we. That was before we played. Before we played Villa.
Can I ask when is Leverkusen's last home game?
Stand by.
Is it not the same weekend? Is it not the same weekend as us on the Saturday? Is it not on the Saturday before?
I believe Germany wraps up the same time we do.
I think it's a Saturday.
So I would maybe watch that to see what his reaction is.
The 17th of May is his last game, but it's away. His last.
Oh, that's the FA Cup final. So they finish a week before.
The 11th of May is his last home game.
Yeah. Against Dortmund, it'd be a good game. Actually.
That'd be this weekend, wouldn't it?
Yes, it is.
Interesting.
That's a Sunday 2:30 kickoff in the UK.
Yeah, the one thing we can't do is it's not Wirtz or bust. With City are not finished if Wirtz doesn't come. We're not a finished club. We're not out the door. Because don't forget, we have still got people will not like this. We have still got Phil Foden, Mamouche, and we've got Echeverri. We have got options in that area.
Can I throw one to everyone as well? Would you guys be okay to wait for a season if the ideal target isn't right and go with what we've got?
No. On one condition, I would. You've got to buy 2 8s.
Interesting. Yeah. Elliot?
Oh, do you mean waiting for the season 4, Nick? Do you mean Musiala, or do you mean, I don't know? But,
or just say they've got someone else in mind, but you can't get them for the season.
Yeah. I mean, it's different in it. I mean, it's the way you look at it, I suppose. I'd be more than happy just running with what we've got at the minute, to be honest. But I get why the club want an actual De Bruyne sort of that type replacement. I get that, but I probably would agree with Martin. I probably would want another 8. I don't think I want 2 8s because I think, like I said, Nico Gonzalez, Nico O'Reilly. You're going to have obviously Bernardo's probably still going to be there.
Yeah.
I just think you're just spending for the sake of it. I wouldn't mind looking at maybe another fullback if that comes to the case, Nick, to be honest. I wouldn't mind signing another 8 and then maybe looking at an out-and-out actual left-back, which I know that probably never happen with our football club, but...
Well, would you have 8, Nora?
You're talking in riddles and jumping in shadows. We don't sign left-backs.
Yeah, I know.
No, genuinely, would anyone take 8, Nora?
From what I've seen of it, again, good on the ball. I don't know if he really has any other qualities that are superb. I also heard Dash talk that he doesn't think he's got much more to go to improve on, which I also kind of agree on, to be honest.
I don't know. I mean, if he was good enough, would he have stayed at Wolves for so long?
Correct.
He's got to have been there for at least 5 years.
He was a good player. He was one of their better players attacking wise on Friday.
He was, and in a team with lots of possession, he may look and perform a lot better. But yeah,
you don't want him, do you, Nick? You don't want him. Be honest, you don't want him. You're into gender-driven haters, aren't you?
We've been burnt by Wolves one too many times, haven't we, Alan?
Yeah, he's only 23 and he's been at Wolves since 2020.
Yeah. See, I don't think you're going to get Reinders. I think Reinders was depending on somebody else going into AC Milan, and I don't think that player will go into AC Milan.
Yeah, he just renewed his contract a couple of months back, so I think if he wanted to go, he wouldn't have. Because if you read the Reinders rumours, it was caveating on Tonali going into AC Milan, but Newcastle ain't going to sell Tonali.
Yeah, look, I'm probably in the same boat. I'd be happy to wait a season, but unlike obviously Elliot's mentioned he wanted a left back, and everyone's kind of got their dream signing. I'd probably want another winger to come in that can kind of guarantee us goals.
I'd get rid of the 2 wingers I mentioned. 2 wingers I mentioned and get 2 new ones. So I don't rate them. I just do not.
I'm not sure we need direct wingers.
Yeah, the fullback wingback situation. Do you look at that? Would we be right to look at that more in terms of what we did in the summer before the Centurion season, where we got Mendy, we got Kyle Walker, so that was our established first team in the left back, right back / wing back role. But then we also got Danilo, who turned out to be actually a very, very good sort of second. Yeah, because he was so versatile. He could play across the entire back 4 and play number 6 in a pinch. So that's why I think Cambiasso makes sense, because one, fits the versatility bill. I mean, for God's sake, he can play everything from defense to basically attack on both left and right sides of the pitch. And he inverts, and he can technically, in theory, play a number 6 role as well too, or at least play a support number 6 role as well if you wanted to invert for a double pivot, basically. So he seems to be the first one. But then if there is the opportunity to get another wing back as well too, just to offer one that can offer versatility and also somebody that can compete with Rico and Nico and Mateus as well too, then it's just another case of like when we were at our peak in like Centurion and Formidable season, where we had such versatility across the entire squad that you could look at 5 players and go, you could put 5 players and go, that they could fit basically any 10 positions on a pitch because they've either played in that position or Pep's developed them into playing that position. So,
I think he's the closest thing to what we're going to get to like a Cancelo as well, Pat, to be honest.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think he's the sort of same kind of mold player, mate. I don't know what it's like defensively. I'm not like I've seen a lot of them.
But from what I've heard, he's a little bit better than Cancelo, which would be a bonus for us.
Right. Well, like the thing is with this, I know what you're saying, Nick, but I would also put that question back round onto you. Then, would we need this winger if we're not going to play with wingers?
Yeah, great point. I think the winger that I would want to bring in is almost more of an inside forward,
like a Rodrigo sort of, Rodrigo sort of player.
Yeah. That's another thing. If Doku, if we're in for Rodrigo, I think Doku goes.
Yeah.
If we're playing FIFA, can I have Valverde and Barella then?
You're gonna have whoever.
Hey, here's a shout. What if Inter win the Champions League? Barella might want to move on.
Look at him. He's after. I'm not. Don't.
You're the one who bloody brought up Barella when we. No. You're the one who brought up Barella back in bloody September when we rocked the Oasis kit when we played him in the Champions League.
Listen,
don't
you ask
Elliot to me about that. You're the one that you're the one that started the fire.
No, you all know, including Elliot, if it was up to me, I'd go to Bayern and get myself a bit of Joshua. But it ain't happening. I've had to end my dream. My dream is over with Joshua. I've had to accept that. Joshua Kimmich will never be a blue.
Do you know
I have to accept Valverde will never be a blue.
Do you know who's replaced? Do you know who's replaced Kimmich as my dream signing?
I'll tell you, will be a blue again from Bayern. Vincent Kompany.
I thought you were going to say Leroy Sané.
He'll be the next manager. I'm telling you.
I was going to say
Leroy Sané. That's a shame. But
too bad. No, I don't want it. I don't want it. I don't want it.
Man, do you know? I agree with you. Up until this season, Kimmich was always like my dream signing to have at City. But you know who's taken over that now? Camavinga.
No,
I'd have me some Camavinga in that squad. He's just Rolls Royce. I just love watching him play. He just looks so slick on the ball.
And can I just say, I love Vinny. He's a legend. That's why I don't want him. It will break my heart to see some in this fan base turn on him.
Yeah. Are you, Martin, are you worried that it's just going to turn into like Belgian Frank Lampard?
It's going to turn into a Lampard Solskjaer situation, and I don't want to see it.
Yeah. It does scare us a little bit, yeah.
I want Vinny to be the legend that he is. And that's what it is. But then again, I'm not looking at next manager. Alan, why are you doing that? Why are you going 3 years down the line here? What are you doing?
I'm lining you up, you idiot. It's not hard. It's just letting you bite.
No, I mean, at the end of the day, I'm really excited for everything moving forward.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've got a new lease of life at the minute. I'm very excited about the Blues. I'm excited about what's potentially going to happen. I'm excited about the next few games. I'm hoping Saturday we get a really good win and we stick a few goals past Southampton. I'm excited of who we may see coming on the bench very soon.
I think we have to. I think we have to score against. Just my part on that, Martin. What you've just said, sorry, mate. But just my part on that. With I think Southampton. I think we have to score pretty early, to be honest, because I think longer the game goes on, longer we'll probably become a little bit more desperate and we'll start probably.
Elliot, do you still think Southampton will have a go because they want to get off that record that they currently hold with
100%,
11-point season? Yeah,
100%.
They'll be trying to throw the kitchen sink at us.
Can I throw a question out? Because I know Pat probably want to answer. Genuine question.
Go on.
Is anyone putting Rodra in the squad before the end of the season?
No.
Yeah. I am. I was going to throw you on back, Martin. Does anyone think Echeverri goes on the bench this weekend?
I was about to mention that too.
Not until we get qualified.
Stop giving me false hope, Nick.
Not till we get
I've got a weird feeling he's on the bench.
I don't think we'll see him till Fulham, and he may come on. If we're 3-0 up with 10 minutes to play, he might come on.
Yeah, that's what I think.
It's like like some movies they drop hints about the sequel. Like I think Avengers do this. They drop a sequel after the credits for like 5 minutes. I think that's what we're going to do with Echeverri, where it's like this is the 25-26 sequel. Marvel. We're going to see 10 minutes of Echeverri like that, like an Avengers sequel.
Oh, we've lost.
I know they keep dropping obviously YouTube clips and City keeps posting about him. I just got a feeling
we're gonna get a little sample. I think a little
I've got a feeling you're gonna see him this weekend. I don't know why. I think he might. If he's not on the bench,
you're just saying that because you're going to be there. So
I'm hoping I think he might travel. May not be on the bench. Rodra.
Yeah. we just say one thing too? If Rodri ends up getting on the bench at Wembley, oh my God, seriously, I don't care if he comes on for 10 minutes and if he scores the goal, we won't be cheering. The first thing we'll say is, don't do your fucking knee slide. Don't do it. Mate, don't do it. Just talking about, I'd love to see Rodri back for a few minutes, but yeah, it wouldn't be more than a few minutes, something like that. Did anybody have a problem with him coming on if it meant that he was, say, getting subs for Kevin De Bruyne at Wembley? Because I love that, like getting applause for his last game at Wembley, more than likely his last game at Wembley, and then applauded when Rodri comes back.
Oh,
like a nice sort of 1-2 sort of, yeah.
Well, if Rodri comes back, who lifts the trophy?
Oh, Kevin does, 100%.
Does anyone think Earl's going to be in the starting lineup this week?
Yeah.
Or get minutes?
Yeah.
It's possible.
I think he starts.
Oh, come on. 30 likes is 82. Let's get these likes up. Come on, guys. You can do better.
Get it to 115, otherwise I'm going to keep going. Sorry, guys. But yeah.
Can you see Erling starting, Alan?
Yeah, I think he'll start straight away.
Yep. Pat?
Yeah, if he's got the green light, there's not going to be like 30 minutes on. It's going to be like he'll play a full 90.
Do you not think
I just want this Southampton match. I just want it to be like wrapped up. Like if we can have one of those performances where we're 3-0 up at halftime, cruising, easy going.
City
I really
on the
do.
South Coast. City on the South Coast.
Martin,
what time do you have to leave Manchester to get down there, mate?
Mate, it's a long way back if you're driving, if we get beat.
7 a.m. I'm leaving.
It's not too bad, actually, when you think about it.
And I've got my Wembley final tickets yesterday. Got me final tickets.
Do you know what? We've got to... Alan, what the hell was that?
Dirty bastard.
Dirty sod. Jeez. Don't forget to like and subscribe, everyone.
Final thoughts.
Actually, while we're here too, quickly, because I've got to ask Nick and Alan. Obviously, we were having a good old justified bitch and moan about bloody, ITV and BBC carrying on about what time they wanted to kick off the game, and obviously we were crying out for 3 p.m. being midnight over here for the game, but it seems like ITV and BBC have met in the middle and decided to have it at 1:30. Now, I'm going to quickly just throw my 2 cents in about this too, because we were actually sort of we were chatting with the supporters group here in Sydney for Crystal Palace. Great bunch of guys, really get along with them really well. Always had some fun nights out with them around as well too. Good bunch. But the first thing we were saying was just like, it's ridiculous that, the fans are basically thought of as last. And, we try to look at it from a way of like, without trying to sound too self-centered, you want obviously the most favorable kickoff time because, we've got jobs and things like that. And sometimes staying up all night watching the team play, you could feel it for the rest of the week, the rest of the work week. Now, I look at it from a perspective of like the match going fan as well too, and people might think, oh, well, look, it's a London club. People don't realise just how big London actually is, and to get from a place like Croydon to Wembley, you're talking about going from just about one opposite end of one of the biggest cities in the world to another, geographically the other opposite end as well too.
Nightmare.
And I just think the logistics of that is going to be the logistics of that. There is a possibility that there'll be people in parts of London that will take longer to get to Wembley than what Mancunians will from Piccadilly to get to Euston. There's every possibility of that, and it was one of the big disappointments too, because there were a few Palace fans we spoke to that said they were going over for the final as well. They got tickets, and a few others were saying like, I'm only going to go watch the final in Sydney if the game is on at midnight. Now, all of a sudden, they've turned around and said to us, we don't know how many numbers we're expecting because there's been so much going on about all these problems with the broadcasters that now some of them have even said, well, I've given up because even if they do decide to do midnight, I'm not in the mood for it now. It's just all this carrying on. It's just caused such a buzzkill for our sort of group around here. And I wouldn't be surprised if there's other fans of both respective clubs in Australia that feel the same way as well too. It's just, you understand that just like the match-going fan is obviously being thought of last, but they don't realize that fans in other time zones around the world have been thought of last as well too, because you got to look at it from a perspective of us where we're sacrificing a lot of sleep and a lot of rest and relaxation every weekend to watch our clubs play. And to go around worrying about that and then knowing the fact that it's just like, well, I don't feel like I can celebrate this as much as, not just because I was younger. I was once younger and I could do this with a lot more energy. But you just feel like it's almost exhausting before anything's even announced. And again, it's just like you try to put all your energy in it, and it's just too difficult these days to sort of do anything. And I don't understand, like particularly with the FA Cup final, was if you look at the fixtures for the Premier League this week, the following weekend, all the Premier League fixtures have been moved to the Sunday. There's no clashes with the Premier League.
Yeah, as about to say, why
can't this fixture be organised months in advance of when the season starts? The FA already had all the FA Cup rounds announced before the season had even started. They knew exactly when the FA Cup final was going to be played. There is absolutely nothing wrong with having it set at a certain time. If that's going to be a problem for the broadcasters, then stiff shit. I'm sorry, but at the end of the day, what needs to be looked at is the benefit of the match going fan. And don't worry about the fact that, like, we're going to get more revenue if it's 2 hours later, or we don't want it to clash with something else that's completely unassociated to football. I'm talking about BBC with the Eurovision. I'm just really, really pissed off and disappointed about it, that it has to take so long, because at the end of the day,
I didn't realise Eurovision was so big. When did Eurovision become so bloody big? When did Doctor Who become so big?
I don't know.
Who gives a damn about doing a Eurovision party? Sorry, with due respect, UK ain't doing well in it. Australia are not in it. America are not in it. What are we doing here?
Well, we used to be.
It's going to be.
We used to be, which made it weird. Yeah, which was
weird. But you know what I mean? It's going to be some. I just don't get it. Nobody knows the bloody songs. I don't even know the UK entry. It could be bloody Fiddler on a Roof before I know.
You know, Martin, this is the big question you've got to ask too. If we were playing one of the three red clubs, do you think that the networks would have taken this long to organise the time?
No,
I don't think.
I think it would have been within 48 hours. I think within 48 hours of that final whistle against Forest, we would have known.
I don't agree with the final going on during the season.
No, I agree. It should be the end of the season.
Well, the one season we wanted another week of competitive football after the league's finished, given what's going to happen in the States, less than a month after. That was exactly the right time to have a cup final a week later after the league season's done.
Yes, and it's nothing to do with, people said it's to do, the FA were doing it for the Club World Cup. You're not. You're doing it for the Champions League and the Europa League finals. That's why they're doing it.
Yeah.
And it's a load of garbage. But one thing I just need to add, by the way, don't forget, it's on your screen now, Manchester City's Heroes of 99 event is going to be coming up in June. Your details are on the screen. I will go through it. I haven't got my glasses, so I can't see it at the moment because I'm not on my laptop. But your details are on the screen. Get in touch with Ivor, who's on Twitter. He's got your tickets. I think they're £37. There is a pie and peas supper, and the City legends of Andy Morrison, Paul Dickoff, and Nicky Weaver will be there, as well as a pop-up shop with all 99 City memorabilia. And always remember, if it wasn't for this lot, we wouldn't be where we are right now. Mm-hmm. This was the start of the journey to where we've got to. So there you go.
Yeah.
But anyway, take us home, Daddy.
That was directed to me. Okay, sure. Yeah, no worries. Look, we're going to wrap it up. Big up to everybody who's been involved in the show tonight. Obviously your support in this channel, it means everything to us. We're not who we are without you guys, of course. Just quickly, obviously if any sort of news breaks, we'll probably save that all for Thursday night chat. What time are we back on for that one on Thursday, Martin?
9:15. I've got in the middle.
9:15. I'll meet you in the middle. That should be fine, mate. Yeah, no problem.
Hey, and we've got a brand new panel member tomorrow night, Pat.
Oh yes, Madam Fee, I believe.
No. I mean, Fee is joining, and that would be a pleasure to have Fee on.
I'm not told everything in this channel. Still left in the dark.
No. We have a new person called Ricardo. Richard.
Yes.
He's finally off the milk cartons. He's back tomorrow night. He's already said he wants to do a Rich rant. My God, you got a lot to rant about.
He's going to have a lot bottled up, to be honest. So everybody, prepare yourselves for that one. That's going to be a good Thursday night chat, I think. We don't even know what it's going to be about, so we're just looking forward to seeing
Basically, tomorrow's going to be a free for all. Yeah. Tomorrow, I've just called it
Pandora's
the final
box,
countdown, and we just do a random. We're just going to do Pandora's box tomorrow night. There will be. Don't forget Friday waffle show. Pat, do you want to thank everyone for like the booming subs that we've suddenly gone to?
Yes, big up to everybody. For those of you who didn't listen in on what Martin said the other day, I think we did this show last week, and we're sitting at about 5,250 subs, and then completely unexpected and out of the blue, we've now in about a week we've gone up to about 6,070, little under 6,100 subscribers. I mean, where that has come from, I don't know, but big up to everybody who's got involved. Of course, if you want to become a channel member too, there are perks involved with that as well too. So big up to everybody. We are really looking forward to what's coming up, over the coming weeks and months as well. So even though it's coming towards the end of the season, doesn't necessarily mean that we are going to entirely settle down. There's going to be plenty more Aussies down under. I think we're going to get Yanks and Manx, a bit of an American sort of show as well. So lots to look forward to. I've got a lot of things planned in the pipeline with the Club World Cup, given that they are sort of more favourable times as well too. So
I like that show name, Yanks and Manx. Right, Stateside Blues is off. We call it Yanks and Manx. I love that. I'm copywriting that. That's getting trademarked.
Do I get an increase in my? Do I get an increase in my ownership then?
I'll give you an extra Twix.
No. I've already got a bag of fun size in the fridge, so you're gonna have to be a bit more creative. Yeah.
That's not the first time Alan's heard that one. But anyway, that's what Alan says to all his ladies. Are you into fun size? But anyway,
I can look like a fridge.
Right, I'm gonna go because I want to watch some telly before I go to bed.
Bit of blue for the dads.
Bit of Sky News or something.
Can we hurry up? Because I've got things I need to do.
Right, go on then.
Alan, where can they find you?
You can find me on Mancunian Way. You can find me on DAP's program in Southdown. DAP's is on. I'm on there tomorrow, so they're at the same time. And then you can find me at the Imperial for match days to watch there. So the Imperial's at the top of Spring Street and Burke Street, somewhere where Nick never turns up.
You can also find him in Federation Square screaming at pigeons.
All right, Shatter. Shatty, my apologies. We won't call it that then. I don't want to offend anyone. No, we won't call it that then.
No.
Back to Stateside Blues.
Yeah. Manx and Yanks, why not? But anyway, Nick, where can they find you, mate?
Yeah, can find me obviously on here, the occasional DAP show as well, and on Twitter as well. NS, I'm always in the spaces, so don't be a stranger. Pop in, say hi.
He can't be asked going to the pub though, can he?
Look, if I have to listen to your politic rants anymore, Alan, I'll watch from home for the rest of my life.
Mate, don't worry, I've got some more I'm going to send you on Instagram, so don't worry.
No, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. Anyway,
no.
Anyway, yeah, and obviously they know where to find us, Pat.
Yep, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. Don't forget to listen out the newest episode of the City Till I Die podcast is out as well too. What's that? Spotify, not SoundCloud. You use something else, don't you? Oh, Apple, iTunes podcast, Apple podcast, whatever it is too. Yeah. So yeah, give Tone and Martin and Fee a listen as well too, because they're going really strong at that at the moment. Really, up to about 8-9 episodes now?
Yeah,
it's good. Yeah, it's actually really good. It's really good. I'd definitely vouch for it.
Yeah, so definitely go and give that a listen. Otherwise, as I said, you can find us on Instagram and YouTube and on X as well at Mancunian Way. If you ever want to reach out, be a part of the show, or just want to have a good old chat about anything, please get in touch with us. We are always approachable. So without further ado, a big thanks to Nick and Alan for coming on. We'll look forward to seeing you again same time next week as well. Martin, always a pleasure, even if it means you trying to be a temporary Aussie, because sometimes it is cringe, but we do appreciate your participation, of course. And we look forward to seeing you guys next week, where we will have the one and only Ricky Ricardo back on the show, where we truly start to make this show a Blues Down Under show. And until then,
I promise you I will not be here. I am not meant to be here. I keep getting dragged in at the last minute.
Yeah. Anyway.
And big up Elliot as well.
Yeah.
Without further ado, yes, of course.
Yeah.
Elliot, I don't know if you're still there, mate, but it was a big pleasure because that's the first time you've been on show. I've been on show with you. So much appreciated. I look forward to more chats with you in the future as well. Again, shouting out for the rest of the evening. I am your host, Pat. This is the Mancunian way, always and forever. Up the Blues. Let's go and get these Champions League spots and let's get some silverware in about 10 days' time. Go on, City.
Go on, City.